If you don't do it, somebody else will. The truth is, a lot of people, they believe they have all this time in the world because they're young, but a lot of people that are gonna make it have already started. They don't just wait for the perfect moment. They don't wait to feel ready because that moment never comes. But people believe it will. The best bit of advice I can give you is just take action now and just learn on the job. I spoke in the last video about a lot of people never taking action. They just sit in a position, forever just wondering. In this video, I'm going to tell you the dark truth, I guess, of what happens when you don't take action. And that is that somebody else will guarantee to take your spot. Someone else will be brave enough to take the leap of faith. They have enough courage to go on and just step into the fire. Get back on the horse every single time without really knowing if it's going to work, but they just have this self-belief, which is all you need, by the way, the self-belief that they are going to make it. And most people, they just miss out. I've been in position plenty of times where I didn't have enough confidence in myself to take an opportunity, and it doesn't just go for this sort of grind self-improvement life, just things in my life in general. And you know that feeling when you just go home and you're like, damn, like I wish I just took action, acted on my thoughts, because that's where the most growth comes in, is when thoughts become actions. Because anyone can go around talking a big game, talking, oh yeah, I want to do this, I'm ready to stick it out even during the hard times, but most people, they don't. They just stay in the exact same place because they're scared. And when you feel scared, that's when you got to make the jump. Otherwise, you will just continue to be in the same position. And that is just in a thought of wonder, like, what happens if, I make it, and what will my life look like? And you start fantasizing. But the truth is, you never take action, and you're never going to be able to get to the places you want to go because you're not doing the things that are required of you. And the time will pass anyway. That's what people don't realize. Regardless of what you decide to do, the time is going to pass. No one's going to wait for you to feel ready to, be brave enough. The sun's going to rise, the day's going to pass, the sun's going to set again. It's how it works. Life and people, they don't care about your feelings as much as maybe you think they do. Because people don't care if you're scared. People don't care. Honestly, it sounds a bit harsh. Maybe it hurts your feelings a bit, but people don't care. There's people out there with much bigger problems than what you're going through right now. So you've just got to take action. Otherwise, you'll have to watch somebody else get the things that you wanted so bad. You've just got to sit there in the stands and praise that person. Praise them for being, courageous enough to take the opportunity, take that leap of faith, regardless of how they feel, or how they were feeling, sorry. And that could be you. There is nothing stopping you from being that person. It's just you've got to be brave enough to go on that journey. There aren't really many excuses that you can make, because it gets to a point where you've made so many excuses and nothing's ever come from these excuses other than just stopping you. And now you've got to live in regret, and then you back yourself into a corner where people look at you and maybe even look at yourself. You realize that the whole time you've been lying to yourself, and maybe you aren't the person that you thought you were. Maybe you are just talking this hype and getting inside of your own head, for the good and the bad. The good because you're actually thinking like, maybe I should start that business, maybe I should start going to the gym, maybe I should, go out and talk to that girl that I like. Whatever it is, that shows that you're capable, but then you get so in your head that you sort of belittle yourself down and you start to question, like, am I good enough? You know, what happens if it doesn't work out? What are people going to think? What am I going to think of myself? What am I going to tell the people? Best way to get around that is to not publicize it. Don't tell people what you're doing, what you're planning on. Because, again, it doesn't really matter. And then there is no pressure. Otherwise, you're going to end up living in regret. And that's probably the worst thing. The worst thing is just walking away from a situation where you just talk yourself out of it. And then the moment's gone. There's nothing you can do about it. The whole time you're building yourself up, you're going to do it, you're going to do it. When the moment comes, you don't take the jump. And then the moment passes, the ship goes, and there is no getting on anymore, and you just got to walk away and accept the fact that you were too scared. And that feeling, that feeling eats you up, because you got to wait for the next ship to come through. Maybe it doesn't ever come through again. But that is the harsh reality of not taking action. Someone else will live out your dreams. You've got to live in regret. The only way to get around that is to take action, regardless of how you feel. Just have that belief in yourself that you are good enough, you are smart enough, you are strong enough to withstand whatever storm comes your way. And even if it doesn't work out the way you hoped, at least you can say that you tried and you didn't just run away like a coward.